Hey guys, and welcome to another First Impressions video, the video game series in which we look at a recently released game and I give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. Today we're looking at a game called Space Accident, which is a first-person puzzle game. It's got a number of issues with it, namely that I can't get out of the opening area, but as always we'll go through the options first and then we'll jump into the actual gameplay and I will give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. So let's not waste any more time, let's jump straight into the options and see what this game has to offer. Okay, so the very first issue I've got with this game is that you have to actually load into the game first in order to get access to the options. I don't know why that games are starting to do this, but this isn't the first time I've seen it. It's not a bad menu, it's a bit plain, but honestly, it's got pretty much everything that you would require. So you've got your main, which is not actually anything, it's just where you can load last save, start a new game, etc. Your video options, it starts you in your native resolution, starts you in borderless, which is really nice. Turns VSync off, and that's the other thing, like, it doesn't seem to save options that well unless you save your game. Your max FPS, your gamma, your resolution, everything on Epic, and then motion blur. Turn that off. It is horrible. Really, really not good. But it's got a fair amount of options here, and I must say the game is quite pretty. You then got your audio options. Everything is in full volume, so you might want to turn that down, although, to be honest, the game isn't that loud. And then your input. Now, it does have gamepad options. However, one of the things that is required of you, by all accounts in this game, is to rotate the cubes. You've got to rotate the space cubes with your mouse. You've got to use your middle mouse wheel. There isn't an option for that. You can't change that in your keyboard input settings, and you definitely can't change it with your keypad. So if you are wanting to use a gamepad, it's not really viable because you can't do one of the main key things. So that needs adding in and changing. Also, I've turned the sensitivity down quite a lot because it was a bit silly even with the gamepad as well. It was just really, really fast, really disorienting. And even though I'd turned motion blur off, it seemed to still have a bit of a blurry effect to it. So, not the best of starts. Not the worst menu I've seen, but definitely needs some improvements. Now let's get into the infuriating cluelessness of the game. Alright then, so we're in the game. This is a puzzle game, and the idea is that you've got to move from room to room in order to really see what happens and why you're in this situation in the first place. The game could do with a tutorial. A better one than that. This is a puzzle game. The puzzles, for me at least, are not easy, and understanding the mechanics of each of the sort of items and what they do and how they work before you're left to just kind of figure it out would be advantageous for accessibility options. If you like a challenge and if you like a game that just throws you right in the thick of it, then this is going to be for you. So, you're presented with new rooms each time, and each room has its own sort of puzzle that you've got to try and figure out. You have a number of different factors. So you've got these here, which are your weight, pressure points. When the lights on the thing change, it means that you can go through, but lasers cannot. So it is important to work that out. However, as you see, as soon as I take myself off of the weight pressure point, it changes back to blue, so I can't move through. You've then got these spherical cubes, which will enable you to move lasers because you do it by rotating. And each time you do that, it will allow you to line the lasers up to power the cells in order to move on. However, like I say, the game doesn't tell you any of this. You're kind of just left to try and figure it out. And it took me a good hour and a half to figure out what it was that I had to do. As you can now see, we're in a different room, and none of the doors are opening for me. They're all locked, so I've just got to try and figure out how to unlock them. It will tell you on the door whether it's open or not. Not entirely sure how, but it looks like I've got to try and take power to them now. Only certain items can be lifted up, i.e. not those, and you basically have to figure out what it is that you've got to do in order to move from the next room. As stated, it is quite difficult to figure out what it is you've got to do and how. As you can see, you can press buttons on certain items and it will change things. What it changes, you won't know until you find out, but some things work, some things don't. It can be quite frustrating. If you are looking for a decent puzzle, a decent game that's going to look really good, play relatively smoothly, but drive you absolutely bonkers through just having no clue of what it is you've got to do and how you've got to do it, then this is going to be the game for you. It's a bit frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. I am no good at puzzle games anyway. It would be nice if there was a reticle or something on the screen so that you can actually see what it is you're pointing at and where it is you're looking, to see if you're actually doing anything to the items or not. But that's really all there is to it. Like, you're not going to be able to see much in this area I'm in because I have no idea what I've got to do, how I've got to power it. There we go, we managed to get a room. It's just really random. You've got to be very observant, I feel, with this game, in order to make any progress at all. Got a computer there, which is probably going to tell us a few things, and straight bread. But yeah, so that's Space Accident. You're an engineer, you've got a lot of puzzles to work out. It doesn't tell you anything. There is zero hand-holding in this game. A tutorial would help those of us who are not quite that smart to enjoy the experience as well. Let me know in those comments down below what you think, and I shall see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.